Hello everyone, it's Sean. Today I just wanted to give you some brief tips on one good method you could use for writing and structuring your introduction. This is a part of a dissertation or of any research writing project that people often struggle with. So what I'll tell you today is about something that was developed through the research of a professor of linguistics in America named John Swales. These are known as Swales moves. What he did was analyze science research papers and then look for common features of this genre. He was looking at science papers, but there's no reason this can't be applied to research papers in other fields as well. If you look at the list I'm putting beside me here, you'll see he suggests that what usually happens is writers announce the topic and show its importance. So a brief introduction to the topic and why it's important here can mean important to society in general, important to the world, or a much smaller level, just why it's important to you, to your development as a person who's interested in this particular field, right? Important doesn't have to mean earth-shaking importance. And second, review and summarize previous research pertinent to the topic. So a brief summary, right? What have others said about this briefly? You will explain this in more detail later, other research on the topic, but at least at the start, give a brief summary of what people have said about this so far. Number three, make a gap in the previous research, showing that it is incomplete in some way, right? So you've said others in step 2, you say others have said this. Now in step 3, you say, but this is missing, right? There's this gap that needs to be addressed so that we can learn more about this topic. And finally, step 4, this is where your work comes in, right? Introduce the author's own research as research that will fill that gap. So you've already said something is missing, and now you say, here's how I'm going to find the answer to, or find at least a possible answer to fill that gap, right? So it's often, overall, this is often summarized as, Swales moves are summarized as filling the gap, right? There's a gap in the research, you want to fill it. So please think about that when you read other research. You'll often notice that genre, that generic structure is what happens, right? And think about it as a possible method of putting your introduction in order. And note that Swales makes it clear that those 4 steps don't always happen in that order. They tend to happen for the most part, but they don't always happen in that order. Good. So thank you. Take care.